The purpose of this video is to show what's involved in building an Odyssey ECL and to point out some gotchas with respect to the build and the manual. This was done using version 5 of the manual and the drawing. First mistake, these wingtips should also have had grooves around the veneer, and the masking tape wasn't necessary. That was a mistake. Using Gorilla Glue here. These blocks should be quite small and have epoxy all around them. Can't go wrong with epoxy. Lovely stuff. Fiberglass in the center joint, top and bottom. The fiberglass was supplied with the kit, but the resin is not, although Art Hobby does sell a suitable resin. First coat and sand it down with 400 grit paper, and the second coat and sand it down again, and that is it. The wing has pencil marks for where the servo bay is, but it didn't line up with the drawing. But it turns out that the pencil marks were correct position wise, but still have to be a little bit bigger to fit the servo. The servo bay walls are 3mm balsa. This fiberglass is used to reinforce the servo bay well floor. The control horn for the flaps is on top of the wing, so the control rod has to go through the wing, and this is marking out where it will exit. Time to cut the aileron on the flaps. See a link in the description for Speed Student's excellent video on how to do that. This is the trickiest bit of the build, but if you go through the internal hinge, you can always resort to an external hinge. This dulled blade allows you to cut through the balsa at the right angle, hopefully without cutting through the actual hinge itself. Use a sharp blade to cut through the veneer, and then a duller blade to cut through and into the balsa until you meet the hinge itself. This groove will allow my flaps to bend upwards and act as full span ailerons. The top of the flaps will need a single cut, and then use a file to try and make a groove. The veneer is only 0.4mm, and then hinge is right underneath, so here you gotta be careful. The hinge is a darker color, so as soon as you see something dark pop up, stop cutting. These connectors are sold by Art Hobby, but aren't actually part of the kit. This is not quite a traditional Z-bend, but if you make sure that they go in opposite directions, then you're still good, and it's easy to make a three-dimensional Z-bend. Servos should be attached with silicone sealant according to the manual, not CA glue like I'm using here, but that's all I had. Should use silicon sealant here as well, not hot glue. The tail surfaces get a single coat of sanding sealer that we then sand down again. The tail comes pre-hinged, which is nice. Cutting the tail boom to match the drawing. This balsa board was cut in half to fit the shipping box. These are servo attachment reinforcements, one on each side of that square hole. The motor and spinner comes pre-attached if ordered from Art Hobby. These hooks and rubber bands, one on each propeller blade, ensures that the propeller stays folded when not in use.